You're 22 years old, and you just graduated from a mid-tier state university with a degree in criminal justice that your parents are cautiously optimistic about. Good news though, the FBI wants you. You scored exceptionally well on your written exam, crushed the physical fitness test, and somehow managed not to say anything weird during the psychological evaluation. Hooray! After 21 weeks of training at Quantico, Virginia, you're officially a special agent. You get your badge, your credentials, and a gun. You also get assigned to a field office in a city you've never been to. Welcome to your new life. Your first few years are pretty standard stuff. Financial crimes, some counterterrorism support work, a lot of paperwork. Mountains of paperwork, actually. Nobody told you about the paperwork, but your supervisors notice something about you. You're good at talking to people. You're calm under pressure. You don't look like a cop. These are apparently the exact qualifications needed for something a lot more interesting than filing reports. Your supervisor calls you into his office when you're 26 and tells you there's an undercover program they think you'd be a strong candidate for. He slides a folder across the desk. You open it and he immediately closes it again and says you'll get the details if you say yes. That's not suspicious at all. You say yes anyway. You go through another round of specialized training, how to build a cover identity, how to hold a conversation without accidentally revealing you're a federal agent, how to wear a wire without it being visible, how to get out of a room fast if things go sideways. You spend weeks learning how criminals in your target organization talk, what they wear, what they eat, what music they listen to. You memorize a fake name, a fake background, a fake job history. You practice your cover story until it feels more natural than your real one. Yikes. At a certain point, you go home for the weekend and you introduce yourself to your neighbor using your fake name by accident. She seems fine with it, though. Your first real undercover assignment involves infiltrating a mid-level drug distribution network operating out of 3 states. You're not going in as some kingpin. You're going in as a low-level associate, a guy who moves product and keeps his mouth shut. Your contact, a cooperating informant the Bureau has been running for 2 years, introduces you to the crew. Your cover name is Danny Reyes, and Danny Reyes grew up in Phoenix and did a short stint in county jail for receiving stolen goods back in 2019. The FBI made sure that record exists if anyone checks. They check. You're in. For the next 8 months, you go to their hangouts, you do their errands, you eat bad food at 2 a.m. in diners that smell like cigarettes, and you listen. You listen constantly. You're not there to make arrests. You're there to map the entire network. Who's above who, where the money goes, which suppliers are connected to larger organizations. You call your handler from payphones, you submit written reports whenever you can find a safe moment. You're extremely, genuinely tired all of the time. There's a moment around month 5 where a guy named Tomas, who's been in the crew for years, pulls you aside after a late-night pickup and asks you directly if you're a cop. Not joking around, dead serious, eyes locked on yours. Uh-oh. You know that legally you can deny it. You've been trained for exactly this. You look at him slightly annoyed and you say, Danny Reyes doesn't answer questions like that. And you walk away. He laughs. You do not laugh on the inside. Later that night, you write the longest field report of your career and strongly suggest in the final paragraph that the operation may need to be evaluated for timeline acceleration. Your supervisor says to stay in. You stay in. 3 months later, your case agents arrest 14 people in coordinated raids across 3 states, using the information you spent 8 months quietly collecting. You are not at any of the arrests. You're eating cereal in an apartment you haven't told your family about. The waiting period between the arrests and the official debrief is strange. You're not supposed to discuss the case with anyone outside the investigation team, which means you can't fully explain to your actual friends why you suddenly vanished from social media or why you're not returning messages the way you used to. The FBI pays for a brief hotel stay while you transition back to civilian life, though some part of you is already mentally preparing for the next operation. You realize you've started thinking in terms of covers and assignments rather than just living your actual life. After your first operation wraps up, there's a debrief process that takes longer than you'd expect. You sit in rooms and talk to psychologists, lawyers, supervisors, and a woman whose exact role in the FBI you never fully determine. They want to know how you're doing, not the case, you. There's a real and documented risk of something called role blurring, where agents who spend extended time in deep cover start losing the boundary between the identity they've built and the person they actually are. It's more common than the FBI publicly discusses. Some agents come out of long operations and need significant time before they feel like themselves again. You go back to your regular life, your real name, your real apartment, and for about 3 weeks, everything feels slightly off, like you're the one with the fake background now. Then it fades. You get reassigned, start building the next cover, and do it all over again. Your family thinks you work in white-collar financial investigations. Your mom is very proud of you for having a stable government job.